Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today on behalf of General Walters, the commander of NATO Air Command. General Walters asked me to extend his personal thanks to you, General Christos, for the invitation to participate in this very important strategic dialogue. Additionally, I must say it's a tremendous honor for me personally to share the stage with this distinguished panel today. And General Everhard, you couldn't have set the stage more perfectly for today's dialogue, so thank you for that, for your thoughtful remarks on the strategic value of air power. Also, congratulations to the Royal Air Force. On 1 April, the Royal Air Force celebrated their 100th birthday, the oldest independent Air Force in the world. I was asked to provide some brief comments today on the essential role of air power in the age of uncertainty, and I suppose I should begin by challenging that premise, that this age is somehow different than any other when it comes to uncertainty. We like to say that hindsight is 20/20. History's lens offers us a fairly clear view of what has unfolded in the past, generally. But when we look backward, I think we must not confuse our present-day clarity with the reality of the folks who were living in that history at that time. Since the beginning of human history, man has lived in uncertainty, and until we get an operable crystal ball, he always will. A few years ago, I heard the chief of the United Kingdom's Royal Air Force say it this way: predicting the future is easy, getting it right is quite difficult. And nothing has changed in that arena. So while I agree we are living in uncertain times, I contend we always have and we always will. The good news is we have tools to deal with the uncertainty that didn't exist prior to the Wright brothers piloting the heavier than air machine back at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina in December of 1903. We have the benefit of air power to help us deal with uncertainty. So what can air power do for us? I think the answer gets at the essence, the very essence of the title of this conference, the strategic value of air power. The answer is, I contend, that air power properly employed, and I stress the properly employed part, provides some increased level of certainty to the human condition, as well as an increased ability to respond. And this is the essential role of air power on the face of uncertainty. So I'll try to illuminate just how air power does this in both a quantitative and a qualitative fashion over the next few minutes. Starting with the quantitative, the things that we can see, the things that are measurable. Well, that discussion begins with a couple of foundational facts, I believe, about the air domain. One of my favorites is this one. When our friends in the maritime domain are in a room with soldiers, they like to point out that 72% or so of the Earth's surface is covered with water, which is why it's always enjoyable for the airmen in the room to say that 100% of the Earth's surface is covered with air. That's all in good fun. But the lesson out of that is that we operate in the air domain unimpeded by natural geographic barriers. No roads are required to go where we need to go. No bridges are required to cross waterways. No canals are required. To reach anywhere on the globe in this medium, we do not have geographic barriers. Now, that fact, combined with the technology we have available today to maneuver in the air domain, accentuates three distinct attributes that are commonly given to air power. The first is range. Air power is global power. With the technology available today, airmen have the unique ability to reach anywhere on the globe directly, again, unimpeded by geography. The second is speed. The airmen can get there faster in times of crisis, whether those crises are natural or man-made. In times of the essence, when we want to limit the impact of uncertain events, again, whether they're man-made or natural. The third is flexibility. Air power is inherently flexible. The airmen can literally shift on the fly. And that affords leaders, commanders, the ability to reprioritize in real time as additional uncertainty unfolds. Those are air power's inherent attributes, but they need to be harnessed. That's my earlier comment. Air power when properly applied. Harnessing is the role of the independent Air Force in a nation, the air component in a joint and coalition team. Airmen don't exist to serve themselves any more than a soldier exists to serve the Army or a sailor to serve the Navy. They exist to serve the joint and coalition team as one small piece of a whole government solution, a solution to the uncertainties that that the human faces every day. So what are the measurable, quantifiable activities that air power brings to bear against uncertainty? I contend I could bend them into the five core missions that really any Air Force or air component delivers. First and foremost among those is the ability to control the domain. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are no natural barriers to movement through the air, but there are plenty of man-made barriers. And rapidly advancing technology allows would-be adversaries to construct extremely capable barriers to air domain access in their spheres of influence. General Everhard just hit on this. An Air Force must be able to overcome those barriers in order to fully exploit the domain. With access, all else follows. Without it, nothing else is possible. Overcoming those variables isn't just an airman's problem, it's a joint problem requiring a joint solution. And I'll contend that NATO's air component is well suited for this challenge. Once access is assured, the other four core missions follow, naturally. First is ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. If I have access to the air, I can utilize the access to gain information, whether it's video, imagery, signals, radar maps, whether I'm collecting information on a recent earthquake in Haiti or Nepal, a flood in the United States, or terrorist training camps in the Sahel. Intelligence can help us reduce the uncertainty for political decision makers. The less uncertainty, the higher likelihood of a better decision. The next core mission is mobility. Air power allows us to rapidly move people, equipment, supplies, anywhere, anytime. So we can't control the uncertainty, but when we're responding to uncertainty, whether it's an Ebola outbreak in West Africa or a hostile nation-state incursion somewhere on friendly soil, the ability to bring resources to bear in a matter of hours, vice days, allows leaders to at least temporarily contain the situation while we can get larger numbers of resources in place via land and sea. Another core mission of air power is strike. The ability to hold a target at risk anywhere on the globe is a powerful tool in the hands of political leaders as they do their best to prevent new conflicts from spiraling out of control or de-escalate existing conflicts. Well, the fifth and final mission, and the ribbon that ties all this together, is command and control. An air force or an air component of a joint force must be able to orchestrate this complicated ballet if it truly wants to control the domain, surveil the domain, deliver goods and people across the domain, and if necessary, strike. So those five things: domain control, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, mobility, strike, and command and control. Those are the core missions of an air force, of an air component. And when they are done, they certainly help reduce the uncertainty that we face day in and day out across the globe. So those are the visible quantitative actions that illustrate air power's essential role. I also promise you something a little less tangible. In my view, the qualitative role of air power in battling uncertainty. And simply put, it's how we grow leaders in the air domain. A few years ago, I was addressing a group of young F-22 pilot trainees, and I stressed with them the strategic significance of their tactical excellence. What I meant is the importance of their ability to just do their job well, to do those core missions, and how that translated into a tool for political leaders at the strategic level. But I followed that up with something I told them was even more important, in my mind. And that's the strategic significance of their day-to-day relentless pursuit of being tactically excellent. The countless hours our airmen spend every day doing tactical problem solving, planning, briefing, executing, and debriefing teaches them lessons in leadership that will go with them wherever life takes them, whatever endeavor they choose to pursue. The speed at which our airmen can perceive, decide, and execute is honed every day by the life and death decisions they make during their training sorties. Every day our airmen get better at rapidly identifying core issues, assessing what's available to them to counter the problem, choosing reasonable solutions, executing, analyzing the results, and then starting over. This isn't just germane to the air domain. We do it in all branches of our military. And it's why our soldiers, our sailors, and our airmen are ready to succeed in the face of uncertainty, whether it's in combat or in life. Just the other day, a former United States Navy fighter pilot was at the controls of an airliner flying from New York to Texas. You probably heard about this. Cruising at 32,000 feet, with 150 or so people on board, when the left engine came apart. That's uncertainty. Nobody knew that was going to happen. But by all accounts, she performed flawlessly, safely piloting the aircraft to an emergency landing and limiting loss of life. Again, she didn't know it was going to happen, but she had been through the crucible. She knew how to perceive, decide, and execute, and she was able to limit the impacts of that uncertainty. So in conclusion, yes, we live in uncertain times, just as every human before us did, and every human after us will. But as we've discussed here today, air power, when properly employed as part of a joint coalition and whole government approach to problems, not only provides us options our predecessors did not enjoy, but it's also helping us build stronger leaders well equipped to deal with whatever the future holds. Thanks for your time, and I look forward to addressing your questions momentarily.